Hello, beautiful soul sister, and welcome back to another episode of the Soul Powered Podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Kiger. I'm a trauma-informed master mindset and money coach, as well as a financial expert of over 17 years. I have spent my entire adult life studying the difference between successful and unsuccessful people, and I plan on sharing all of the things with you on this journey together. This podcast is called the Soul Powered Podcast because it's my desire to share with you how to create a life that is powered by your soul, not by societal standards or what everyone else in your life tells you that you should be doing, but actually powered by your soul. The reason you'd want to do this is because I believe that this is the fastest way to unlock your portal to prosperity and become what I call the wildly wealthy woman. This is the portal that once you enter it, you gain access to the prosperity, abundance, wealth, time freedom, experiences, fulfillment that are your birthright. I don't believe that you came here to build someone else's dreams. I believe you came here to live your soul-powered life and live it to the fullest. And I plan on sharing with you exactly how to do that during our time together. So thank you so much for being here. I know we're going to have so much fun together today. Let's dive in. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Soul Powered Podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca, and boy, do I have an exciting episode for us today. I have an incredible guest, Marcia O'Regan, who is a divine feminine intuitive who also has an expertise in color therapy. And we're going down some of the rabbit holes today, and I can't wait. You guys know that the more that we go down the woo, the more that I love it. And this is going to be a really exciting and cool episode for everyone. So welcome to the show, Marcia. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here. Okay, so let's just dive straight in because I've been kind of chomping at the bit. I know you're going to do some special stuff for us today, and I've been chomping at the bit to just get in. So let's talk about what is it that you do? How do you help people? Who do you help and how do you help them? Let's start there.
So I help female entrepreneurs who really see themselves who are here to make an impact and co-create this heaven and earth reality that we have all been promised. And I really help those women who are really leaders, who are leading the way, who are trailblazers, who are making a difference, and who are courageous to stand up and be different and wake humanity up on a whole other level.
I love that so much. And I think that this really is our time, right? As divine feminine leaders. And I think it's interesting because most of our lives were taught to fit into this mold. And now, isn't it interesting how we've kind of come full circle as a society that the real way of us waking up and coming back to the truth is to let go of all of that, right? All that programming and come back to who it is that we actually are. So I think it's incredible and I love what you're doing. Okay, so how specifically, let's get into some of what it is specifically that you do and how you are supporting people. What is color therapy? Can we talk about that?
Yes. So so that was where I started actually, because I had severe stomach problems growing up all my life, had gone to lots of different consultants. They told me live with it. And then I actually found color and I trained in it. And oh my God, within 6 weeks, the pains in my stomach disappeared. Within 5 months, I had, bought my favorite car that I'd always wanted, found a flat to buy in London that I had spent 14 years looking for, changed jobs. And I was like, oh my God, this stuff works. And then I went on to do the diploma, train the trainer. And from that really is which got me off the ground. And from there, I really opened up my intuitive ability. And then I had a visitation from Goddess Isis about maybe 8 years ago. And she said, you are the voice of the ancient divine feminine. And I was crying, saying, you've got the wrong woman. And she would not leave until I agreed to the assignment. And then I had this vision of golden light, which I realize now were the divine feminine codes. And after that, really, I really was never the same. So what I do is I'm able to, the soul comes to me. So I'm speaking with someone, the soul, I see the soul here through my third eye. And the soul says, I want, show her the way. And I want her to be living this reality. So then I remove all the blocks, I do ancestral, it's all intuitively. Nothing is planned. I'm like, if you're looking for a 6-step or a 7-step process, I'm not your woman. So I have no idea what is going to come in, but because I'm guided, probably a channel really. And from there, people have just had miraculous experiences. And it all led for the color. So because I know the color is the language of your soul. So sometimes we can't express kind of what's going on. But when you have a color, then you give me a color and I'll tell you exactly what's going on. And also, you are a soul color. Your soul, if I was to take away your human body, you are a soul, which is light. And once you know why you're here, because we've all come in as a soul with whatever is required, but it's inside of us, it's not outside of us. And miraculous things actually happen when you operate from the soul. But it does require you to leave behind and unhook from any aspect of limitation, because limitation is actually, it's not like it's almost an illness. It's like, it's not, that is not true. Your natural state of being is to thrive on all levels.
Yeah, it's like I'm hearing the word like illusion, like the limitations are illusion. I told you guys we were going deep and going quick, right? So this is the Soul Power podcast, right? We want to live a soul powered life. This is one of the ways to do it, and I find this completely fascinating. So can you see energy, Marcia, or is it that you're like, how are you seeing the color of the soul? Is it something like you said through your third eye? Is it, can you see with your physical eyes? Like, how does this actually show up for you? I'm fascinated by this.
So, when I started off in this journey, initially I could sense, then as I worked with the color and worked more with clients, I started to hear things, then and now I see. So I kind of, like if I'm looking at you, for example, then I can see beyond the physical body. And on top of that, I work with color numerology, whereby, if, through your date of birth, I can work out what your soul color is, what you've come back to learn, which is really great because then you kind of understand why you've attracted all the things that you've attracted, what you have been born with. So this is like the ray. I see this like the image is like, when we come in, I see like a slide. We come in on a slide. We come down in from the source down into a slide into the earth. And they are the attributes and color that we've come in with. And then there's a color that's almost like secret. It's like we've got to be ready to tap into this. This is like our soul's GPS. And once you understand why you are the way you are, what your soul's blueprint and design is, you really start naturally unhooking from the 3D matrix of acting out of a role, expectations, and particularly for women, women have been conditioned to be a certain way. So all of that is kind of gone. And then as well as that, I work on the soul of the business. So, your business has a soul, it has a purpose. So once you connect in with the soul of your business, like I do a 99-day divine council, and we sit in and we call in the soul of the business, all the person's guides. And it's amazing. We're like, what do you want what do you want me to do for the next 99 days? And why I got 99 is 9 is gold. So it's gold, gold, gold. So 9 is gold, then 2 9s are 18. So gold is like the infinite. It's like a portal. It's opening and closing doors. It's the highest frequency. It's the only color in the spectrum that you cannot learn. It's earned through many lifetimes. It's the most, like, it's huge. And it's 2025 is the color of gold. So be ready.
I'm fascinated by this. This is so cool. Okay, so let's go into that a little bit, because I know Marcia was kind enough to ask me for my date of birth and for some information. So she's going to dive into a little bit of this so you guys can see like my real-time reaction to what she has planned for us today. And this gives you a really good taste of her work and how incredible it is. But can we talk before we do that about this Aquarian energy? I know you said like 2025 is going to be huge. What does that mean from all of this, this soul and numerology perspective? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so gold is associated with endings and new beginnings. And what we have to understand that endings are kind of an illusion, really. So it's almost like it's an evolution. We can't stay the same. So it's going to be a year of great change. it's going to be a year of, because gold is associated with wealth. Like if you look at the ancient wisdom, like in ancient times, like gold was well respected. There's a sacredness. This is a very, very sacred year. We, like as a human race, we've actually forgotten about the sacredness of everything, the sacredness of like cutting down a tree, for example, like asking permission. Like these are basic, but a lot of people don't follow or have forgotten about the sacredness of everything, the sacredness of any interaction. And once we start operating from this the sacredness of every interaction, then what happens is we're having a deeper connection in with unity consciousness, into oneness. We are not separate. Like I can feel you, you can feel me, but we matter. Each and every one of us matters. And what I was shown for 2025 is that we have this golden web of life, right? And this came to me years and years ago, where when I got aside, she showed me the female field of consciousness that was really damaged. And she was like, yeah, part of your work is to heal the female field of consciousness. And because I was given this name, Divinely Prosper, I created this container. We worked in that container for 4 years, and it was all inner work, and really having women to step out of any aspect of constriction and heal themselves. And they were almost lights. So I was shown this literally only about 2 or 3 days ago when I was preparing the reading, and it's like we've come a long way. So first of all, it's a year as well to honor our accomplishments. So often we can be like, it's a new year, what are we going to do? But let's really honor where we're at, all the changes we've made, all that we've showed up for, the amazing transformation that has happened. And from that place, so this is going to be very important for 2025, is that you now cannot create from a place of lack anymore. It won't work. You have got to create from a place of enhancement. So there are no needs. It's like that word need is like, it's a nya. It's like, and vibration of words, right? So it's like, there's nothing as well, no more about getting. It's about actually receiving, right? So it's almost like we're shifting our language. It's like a completely different language, completely different energy. And it's like to understand as well that we are powerful. So gold is extremely powerful. So in terms of gold soul color personalities, what I've noticed, having worked now 20 years with this, is that the people who are now, we'll say, in their 50s, from this generation downwards, life was much easier for those goals. But anybody like 50, 60, 70, 80, they had very tough lives, okay? And they were afraid of their power. But what we have to understand, that this power is the power of the heart. It's mystical, like very psychic, very connected. And that, like a hammer, it's like this power is like a hammer. It's like, who has that hammer in their hands can either build, create beautiful things with it, or they can destroy. So we've got to be very, very mindful in 2025 about intention. It's a year of acceleration. So, and going deep. So we will be called to go deeper. It's like, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? That I am presence. And to know that I think people have been conditioned to change, to fear change. Change is the only constant, and the change, any change, is always good. Right? Because you're either like you're growing, you're building strength. You say, oh, I want to be stronger. Well, the divine is going to come in and say, okay, you want to practice being stronger? Here's this situation. So there are absolutely no problems at all. There are only opportunities. So this year is like a year of ascension. It's like the last time we had this energy was 9 years ago. So it's like, oh my God, like be very good to look back and say, where were you 9 years ago? Like, what would who have you become? What would you love to compound? What would you like to change? So you are the creator actually in 2025. And what you do with that is completely up to you, but the possibility is there, but you have a choice. So it's
Mm.
really, really powerful. But it's going to ask more. Where are you accepting mediocrity in your life? Are you playing small? And particularly, this is a very important year for, light workers, conscious, heart-centered leaders. We'll be called, I feel myself, I'm really being called to step more into, to embody more of that leadership role, to not really care what people, we're not here to please, we're here to lead, not here caring about what people think, because that's based on their own consciousness. And so it's like, oh my God, in 2025, if everything and anything is possible, what would that be? Wouldn't it be nice?
Oh, I love that so much. And I can feel that for sure. I was even speaking with someone the other day who was very intuitive and talking about this. So it seems like there's kind of this common theme with a lot of individuals who are very tapped in, that this is very much so that year. And it's going to be a big year. I love that. And I feel that too. There's almost like these layers that have been shedding where the authentic soul is like, I can't hide anymore. So you've got to figure all this out, right? You got to figure out your, working through with the nervous system blocks and the trauma and the things that I had to overcome on my journey as well. I think there's always like still layers of that, which is funny. I don't know if it ever stops, because on this journey, we really can make a lot of progress, and then sometimes it's like, oh, there's a little bit more of this that I didn't see, or a little bit more of that. I don't know if you experience that as well, but I do think that it's definitely one of those times where I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. This is like the strongest that I've ever felt. The more that I feel like that pull is just entirely too strong now, that it's like, okay, we've got to really get this message out there. We can't play small in any areas anymore. It's like time to let all of that go. And I can
Yeah.
really feel that in my own life as well, and in the lives of, most of my friends and coaches that I'm really close with, and people in this industry. You're like, this is our time. It seems to be a collective agreement, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but 2024 for me was my most difficult year in terms of like that inner. Felt that I've had the dark night of the soul, and I have never had it so on such a profound level. And I've had to let go of a lot, like, I even, and letting go, by the way, as well, of things that you do not want to let go of. So people think, oh, I'll let go that I had this container, divinely prosper, but I wasn't feel, and I got very strong guidance, because I really follow the guidance. You've got to close down this container, and I was like, oh my God, like, and I've done it. And when I did that, something completely is like opening up, and it's called the Green Diamond Experience, and it's a high end, quick one-to-one mentoring, spiritual healing, for leaders. And it's 6 weeks work where 6 months transformation is going to take place. So me standing up saying this is like, but I was like, but once I've done it, it's like I've got wings. I literally feel that I'm after getting wings. And if
Mm.
we think about Goddess Isis, right? Because this is the awakening, like the huge awakening of the divine feminine energy. Goddess Isis, when she had an intention and she wanted to bring her husband back to life, he was cut up and thrown in 14 different parts. She transformed herself into a bird, and she went and picked up all those pieces of him, and she brought him back, and actually had did a sexual ritual with him and brought him back to life, and had a baby. And it's just like, oh my God. So that is a symbolic story about us. It's like, and this is what I mean, which is why I think knowing your soul, I think we really are going to have to remove the humanness. Like, if you are thinking about logic and reason, that doesn't work. If you, like, again, this year in 2020, we will have seen like things that you did before, they just don't work anymore. And people are going, and I'm like, yeah, because it's a different world. It's like, you cannot operate like a human self anymore. You've got to operate as a soul. And when you let soul lead the way, then it doesn't make sense, but it doesn't have to make sense. It's like liberation, like this sovereign. We're claiming our sovereignty like in 2025. And the thing is that the likes of you and I are the ones that are leading the way.
Mm.
We can't wait for anybody else now. It's like we're put in to say, you go, and whoever's meant to follow, And they're the ones we're meant to guide, because the more people on this frequency, the quicker that we will see the world transform.
Oh my God, I love that so much. And that was definitely 2024 for me too. And I know a lot of others shedding and ego death after ego death. And it's just been insane, and in the most beautiful way possible. It does feel like now there is like this, and even the Bible talks about it, which I'm not particularly religious, but I know like a lot of the spiritual contexts of the different religions kind of ring true in a lot of ways, but it says like this peace that passes understanding. And that to me is what I feel in my life now. It's like it doesn't really make sense. There's a lot of external things that are happening that could in the world, right? In our country here in the US, like all of the election and the things that are going on, like there's so much uncertainty. There's so many reasons to be quote unquote fearful or afraid, or, there's all of this uncertainty. And I just don't subscribe to any of it. It's like this weird, like peace that passes the understanding of the mind. And it's like, I don't really care about any of those things. And I know I'm here for a mission, and I know that I'm going to be okay. And I know that the people that I lead are going to be okay. And it's just this odd, it's not odd in a bad way. It's just a new perspective of like, yeah, none of that shit actually matters. Like, let's just go and do what our soul is here to do. So I'm really excited to dive into a little bit more about, because I know you did some reading, and I want to make sure that we get into that as well. But is there anything that you need to kind of set up in terms of like, are there multiple different soul archetypes, colors? Like, is there anything you want to kind of dive into? And then we can dive into a little bit about my chart.
Brilliant. Yeah. So there are 9 different soul archetypes, soul colors, red, orange, yellow, green, turquoise, blue, indigo, violet, magenta, and gold, right? And these, like when I was, teaching this, is like, when you are a 9, when you were a 9 is associated with gold. So when you are a gold soul, you are here, and you will have a choice to come back or not in the next lifetime. You have really completed your cycle. Now, in terms of like, starting out as if you were a 1, that would be red. Also what you have to understand is that this is like you have chosen to come in as this soul, and you've come here on this planet at this time for a big mission. For the red, like the red is here to lead, right? So you've got to own and I've had quite a few people say, oh yeah, but I don't really resonate with a red. Oh, I don't really like red. I'm like, because you are not owning the power. This is like the power of your soul. So once you know this, you cannot fool yourself anymore. You cannot tell me, oh, but I for example, when I've looked at yours, it's just like, you can't tell me that actually, I'm not really here to be, to be seen, to be, to have my own podcast. I need to, like, I don't want to be upsetting the apple cart, or no, you're here as the voice. You are here to speak. And this comes like also each one of the soul, designs that we have. It's like, why wouldn't you? Like, it's a pity that you wouldn't tap into the soul version of you. And because it will actually make your life easier. So if things are not also going according to plan, it's a sign that you're out of alignment with your soul, because your soul and the divine also can't do the work that they want done if we're not here, if we're not showing up. So once you kind of know that, you start to go, oh, so when you start the automatic knee jerks initially, you'll go, oh no, but that's not me as that type of soul. And so it actually starts, it reduces resistance. And also what's really great to know is that it's possible for you to fail, even though failure is an illusion too. But sometimes we're afraid to do things, but what if it doesn't work out? And but what if this? It's impossible, because you have come in with everything for you to fulfill your divine mission. Right? So there's a great sense of freedom going. And so when I usually share, even though sometimes there can be a bit of like resistance in receiving it, so I say, let that sit in. But deep down, your soul knows to say, oh my God, I kind of knew that. Oh my God. It affirms, so it gives great reassurance. And so the idea then is to keep this in our vision. And then the other thing to know is that different phases of our soul's journey, you will be attracted to different colors in terms of your soul's blueprint. So you'll find, oh, actually, I'm really wearing that color. Like I'm noticing at the moment, I am really drawn to green, and I'm a double green. I'm a green soul color person, which makes me like a natural healer, abundance being my natural state of being. But I also have it in the color area of making it my, using that color and operating from that energetic frequency. My life is so much easier. So when you understand there's a sense of support that you didn't have before that will encourage you to be courageous.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Okay, so would you recommend then, as we get into my chart here as well, like using that color a bit more in my life, or is that kind of just if you want, like, is that something that you would recommend doing? Because I know you said my color is what, turquoise?
Boys, blue, yeah.
Turquoise blue. Okay. So is that something that you notice, like bringing some of those colors in, or is it deeper than that?
So basically, for you to tap into the vibration of those colors, like I usually have a report. You have that report. See in greater depth about the attributes, about also every color has a positive and a shadow. But by wearing that color, having those colors around you, for example, even in your branding, if you want people to connect with you on a soul level, it's recommended that you would use at least one of your soul colors, because people can actually connect with the frequency. Like that's the other thing about color. Like color has dated back to 500 BC. It's so
Wow.
powerful. They try to burn the manuscripts. So it's like, and if you think about, I was in Egypt in February 2024, and like when you go in there, it was like, the temples had color. If you go in even to churches, you can see the stained glass. Color is a very, very, very powerful modality, and we're also buying on an unconscious level because of the color. So if you see in the supermarket, lime green, you unconsciously think, oh, that's healthy. If you see like white or, kind of bluey colors, you think, oh my, that's kind of dairy, so no one told you that, but the unconscious influence in our buying behaviors,
Mm.
very interesting around the psychology of color. So
Oh
you
yeah.
can actually work with that. Then you can breathe that color in. You can eat those fruits and vegetables. So there's many different aspects of how, having a crystal. Like for me, I've been born with violet, so I have my amethyst ring here. So there's different ways that you can, because we all need little anchors or little reminders, because otherwise it's so easy to get distracted, and it kind of gets you to come, oh no, but let's come back to the mission here. Let's come back to the soul of
Yeah.
me, and
Yeah.
finding kind of mantras that are going to keep you in that on your soul's path, the soul's
Yeah.
trajectory.
Oh, I love that. It makes so much sense. And it reminds me of like why I'm so drawn to, turquoise water and like just the art and the things that I'm drawn to. It's so cool. Okay, so can we dive in?
Let's dive in. Let's dive
Do
in.
it. Let's
So
do it.
So for you, you are a turquoise and blue soul color personality, right? So this is who you are in a soul level. That is, the sky is the limit for you. So you don't like restriction. In fact, you cannot conform in an aspect of restriction because you are limitless, right? You can feel it. Sky is the limit. There are oceans of possibilities there for you. And you're here as a soul. It's your voice to speak. So people love listening to your voice. Okay. And you have a very, very incredible skill to take esoteric wisdom and put it in a language that people can easily understand, right? So that would be something, for example, for me, that wouldn't be good, easy, because I go straight to the higher language, we'll say, of spirituality, but some people won't get that if they're going like, she's away for the bar. But you have an amazing ability to almost decipher. Like when I look at you, I see codes, and you're able to almost take these soul codes and put them into the language of the people that you are meant to speak with and who will really understand. Okay, so this is incredible. So you're an amazing communicator. Now, on top of that, you're a turquoise blue, but you're a very strong one because you've also you came in on the ray of turquoise blue as well. So you'd be very different to someone who's just a turquoise blue. You're a double. You have the double whammy, which means that also you're very sensitive. You're also the bridge. You are the bridge from the earth to the spiritual. It's like you are bringing people up into their spiritual alignment, I would say, is what you're here to do. And you have there's an intensity inside you, which is this blue part. And one thing to be mindful of is that because of this intensity, because you can see things, you know what's possible, it can sometimes you can get down because it can become too much of a responsibility, it can become too heavy. So you would really need to be bringing in the complementary color of blue, which would be red. Right, so, and also being grounded would be very, very important for you. So anchoring in, like being in nature, anchoring into the heart of Mother Earth, because what's really important is that money, opportunities, and people go to that which is grounded and steady. So you really are multiverse. You can almost be in many different places at the same time, which is really great and not so great in the earth plane. So this is where what would be really good to support you is like creating almost pockets, like different spheres is what I'm kind of being shown, that will help you channel the energies in a direct way rather than it not, because if you it's like a balloon. If you come in and you have just one big balloon and the balloon goes off, it goes everywhere. Whereas if you have a few smaller balloons, then you're able to manage things better, and you create the same result but in a more structured way. Now, on top of that, what's going to really make your life easier? And the other thing, by the way, too, with the blue, is that you're an emotional person. So it's really managing your emotions. Now, this is very, very, very important for you specifically because you have orange in your soul chart in the area of it making your life easier. Orange is also emotional. It's like, oh, so you're feeling all the emotions. So like I'd feel emotions, let's say a level 3, and you'd feel the same emotions at a level 6.
Yeah. This is all very accurate, by the way. I'll just pop in and say this and love it.
Have you any questions at this point?
No, this is like so spot on. I can't even articulate how spot on it is. I think where maybe there would be a clarifying question is in the anchoring, because that has been one of my biggest struggles in life, has been to like almost even want, sounds a little crazy, but like to want to be on this earth because I like know that my home isn't here, and I'm very much like I love to be up in the clouds, I love to be in the 5D. That's my comfort zone, and being here and grounded and anchored and structure and understanding like often struggle with the way that we do things here as a humanity, right? And so it definitely is confirmation of all of those things. So are there practical ways that I could bring some of that structure or groundedness? Because my husband is very grounding, and we that's the reason that we have accomplished so much in being together over the last 7 or 8 years, but that's not something that comes very natural to me.
Yeah. So there's two things that I'm going to share with you, and you can again see, what resonates. You can take both of them, or you can take one of them, or none of them, right? So the first thing, which would also be good for you as well, because you're a super sensitive, like you take on other people's energies. So one of the things that I use myself that I find excellent, this is clearing and a grounding invocation, right? So just observe your energy. Let's all do it here together. And take a breath. And you're going to say now with feeling, I am, repeat after me,
Oh, I am
the only master
the only master
of my being,
of my being,
my energy,
my energy,
my life,
my life,
and my light.
and my light.
I am free
I am free
and I'm pure love.
and am pure love.
Take a deep breath and
Mm.
release. So, what that does for me, it brings me straight into my heart, and I have a sense of safety of being here.
Mm.
Here on that level of consciousness. So, all the other things just literally, I mean, they literally fall away.
I
Okay,
can feel
that's,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that.
And usually you can say it's good to say that 3 times, because then 3 times is kind of anchored in on a deep level. Okay. So what I can do is I'll write that out and I can send it to you, and you can put that into the notes for people if they
Oh,
want it,
thank you. Thank you.
put it on their phones. Then
Yep.
the other thing that's really, really good is you put your hand like this in a triangle, and
Okay.
you put that, you take a deep breath and you put that just by your belly button, and you just breathe. And this actually is a fantastic way to ground. I can feel it now. It literally roots you down in it. What it does is it
Mm.
aligns all the chakras, but it roots you. Like I can feel it in my bum, that
Yeah,
deep
same.
down into
Mhm.
your bum.
Yeah.
This, that's it, right? And this is quite interesting because it's very similar, and I'm being shown a lot the Merkaba. And the Merkaba is a very, very powerful symbol. And it does, there's multiple triangles in the Merkaba because it's, that's really an ascension symbol. So I feel that this triangle, it's like, it's the Trinity. It's like,
Mm.
it's the Trinity. And this is the divine connection, the heart, and the soul coming
Mm.
together.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Okay, so then we're moving on to the color that's here to make your life easier. So this is orange. It is emotional, but you're very creative. So what's really, really important for you to, have an easier life, to bring in kind of more flow in your life, is that you've got to be in your creativity. So I don't know what your creative sense is, but like for me, it's cooking. For me, it's writing. For creating videos,
Mm.
whatever that is for you. But it's your creative. And people think that creativity is like being an artist, but actually no, it's your form of creative juice. You are a creative, and you're also a creatrix. So it's like, if you don't like how your life is going, you're a creative, you can change it. So you're a great manifester.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're here to shine. The more that you are shining, the more that you are more visible, because orange is associated with that beauty, those beautiful reds, orangey skies, the orange sun. And this is also important because if you think about the orange, like that orange sunset, what's also important for you to realize and do is that you're doing something, but then you've got to rest. So it's like I do, like I but then you do need to pause. You may not need to stop, but the pause, the power of the pause is going to be really, really important for you. The other thing to know as an orange, having orange there, is that this color is also helping you to bring up and let go of long-standing hurts that no longer serve you. So it's the more that you kind of, what is really important for you is simplicity. It's like, do you need all the things? Do you really need? So it's like, why do I want this? Do I want this because I think I want it? Or do I really want this because my soul, because this is an enhancement, which would be very much a 2025 question to be asking.
Mm.
And then you have come back to learn violet, right? So number 7, violet. This is wonder. This is really, you're here to understand your spiritual authority, your
Mm.
spirit power, and
Mm.
the speaking of this. Because, the other thing that's worth noting here is that right now, It's like spirituality is kind of become a fashion, right? And I'm sorry, but it isn't. If you want to have spiritual power, you really must be take personal responsibility to honor the power, because when that power is in your hands, you really can do anything with it, and it requires deep a sacredness about actually this is a gift. This is a gift,
Mm.
and be very intentional about how you're utilizing that spiritual, mystical, powerful energy. It's also a royal color. So that would signal that you have come, your soul has come from the ancient bloodlines of, like, goddess Isis, golden Atlantis. Like, you would have been, you've come back to understand that, oh my God, I've got all these gifts from many lifetimes that I have lived. Like, when I look at you, I definitely see you as like a priestess where you were doing this work before. And this is what you're being called to work with, to learn, to know. And again, it's where violet, it's quite an intense color as well. It's a deep color, but it's a rich color. So it's for you to understand, actually, it's okay for me to be aligned in the universal law of plenty, and to be wealthy, to be rich, doing what I'm doing, because you're going to do good. You are going to channel that wealth in ways that are going to help humanity. And it first of all starts with us. Like we have got to be abundant to be in a position to make the financial investments that are going to make a difference in the world.
Mm.
Close on this, what's really interesting, and really, really, this is something that doesn't happen for very many. So what I do then is I have this circle of, I've just handwritten it here, but a circle. So what you do then is you join, you see where this all lines up. So you start off like from the 5 to the 2 to the 7 to the 5. You as a soul have come in with everything you need. Now, some people that come in, they lack this. They don't have, they have a gap. You have no gap. You have everything that you require. What's really interesting too is where you're positioned on the circle of life. You're in the middle. So what's really important for you is harmony, balance, keep going, intention. It's like you make a decision, you're going after the aim, and that's it. And I see you like a jet, like there's fuel, you've got everything you need inside you. You just aim your target and you're going, and there's no doubt, there's no questioning. It's like you're a woman on a mission, and it just is. It's just like the how then is God's business, but you have got this.
And then, the emotional side of things is starting to come out because it makes me very emotional to see how
Yeah.
accurate. And thank you so much for reflecting all of that back to me. And yeah, and my listeners as well, you guys can see how accurate that is based on, the conversations that we've had in past episodes, and my fears of being seen and heard. And even in one of the most recent episodes, sometimes I feel like I want to be open and honest and transparent, especially on the podcast. And I'm like, guys, this is hard for me to say. This is hard for me to share because I want people to see that just because we're taking the action on what it is that we want doesn't always make it easy. Like, this isn't easy just because we're out here. I mean, maybe it is for you, Marcia. I don't think so though, right? Like, we all have like so much that we have to work through with the ego. And I want to be very transparent with people that just because we're here doing this doesn't make it easy. And I know that so many of the people that we look up to, especially like in our industry, who were doing all of the things and making all of the money and, have all of the followers and all the things that society would deem as successful, they still had to overcome all of these things too. We all have these woundings and these things that we're here to overcome. And you just were like so spot on. It's amazing that you were able to figure that out just from my birth date and time. Guys, you can see how incredible Marcia is at what she does. please reach out to her and learn more about this work. This was really life-changing for me, and I really do appreciate that
Delighted.
so much.
Oh, I'm delighted. I'm delighted. This is
Wow.
important work, and I think, as you say, it's like, we can think, oh, it's easy for her or it's easy for him. It's not easy for anyone. The thing is, what I've really learned is that if you want, let's say, more abundance, more visibility, whatever the more is, the divine are going to ask you to do the uncomfortable. So it's like, and I think as a society, again, it's like, we want things, but actually we don't want to do the uncomfortable. There is no other option, only doing the uncomfortable. And it's only uncomfortable, like, it's who you become. It's actually really about who you become. Like,
Mm.
if you want, like, when people say to me, I can't afford them, like, I actually don't believe people who tell me that. Because what I've been channeled around money is that money is an energy. It cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. And again, the illusion that there isn't enough money, it is not true. What money will ask you to do, because money, when it was created back in the ancient times, again, was a sacred, it was created for appreciation and gratitude. And so if you want more money, go and do the uncomfortable. Get out of your own way.
Mm.
Be visible. So it's asking you to do the uncomfortable. And just because we have this discomfort, like I had the discomfort of closing that group. I was switching off all of that regular income that was coming in. And I kept on saying, the divine is my source. Everything is working out in divine and perfect order.
Mm.
So it's like, and that's easier said than done, but it's actually, I feel the likes of you and I, and those of your followers who really are in that arena stepping up, it's like, we can't operate from trust anymore. Faith. Because
Mm.
faith, the only way to demonstrate faith is through action.
That's it. Yeah. You don't have faith that you and I are sitting here having this conversation because we are, right? We
Yeah.
have faith in the things that we have yet to see or have. And I think that, yeah, it's just the understanding and the implementation of that and realizing that it is through action because we live in this 3D world that that's kind of our declaration, if you will, to the universe that we believe in the future that we want to live into. And you're absolutely right. It does take that action. And it's just, I have so many thoughts and so much, like there's so many dots that are connecting for me right now. But I want to just allow you the opportunity to share with our listeners, like, where can they find you? How are you working with clients? I know you mentioned you have this new container, which sounds amazing. If you just want to take a few moments to let our listeners know, like, where can they find you? How can they work with you? And yeah, that would be amazing. So people can get to know you and into your world.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram. It's Marcia, Marcia _ O'Regan, Oregan. And at the moment, I have my website. Actually, that could be a good place to start, but in 2025, I'll be changing that to my full name again, my version of stepping up and branding my name. But at the moment, it's glowyourtruecolors.com. And that's we'll say COLOURS.
I'll
And if
put it
you
all
go
down
to
there.
discover a color, there's a different colors, and you can click on a color that you feel drawn to, and it'll give you a message about where you are at the moment. And also, there is a free soul color personality reading where you'll get something, a shortened version, but you'll get your soul color personality for free. And if you want then to know more about the depths of what I've gone into here with you, then there's a unique special offer there for people who sign up. So, and then the green diamond container, because I'm being guided to work with two, because I'm really going to be available 100% with that person for the 6 weeks, because it's accelerated, deep, intense, but incredible work. That is, if you click on the link in my bio on Instagram and just initially book a 30-minute consultation, that's free, and we can just tune in and see where you're at and see if it's a suitable fit.
Oh, I love that so much. It's so exciting, guys. Definitely go check her out. Definitely get the free soul reading and see. Oh my God, I was like blown away by this. You guys can see that she's really passionate about this, really good at this. And this has been such an incredible conversation. I really do appreciate all of your time, Marcia. Thank you so much for being here. Before we wrap up, is there any final thoughts, anything that's kind of coming through that you want to share with our listeners as we close out today's message?
Trust yourself.
Mm, yeah.
Mm.
Mic drop. Mic drop right there, right? Trust yourself. I love that so much. So if you're being guided, guys, to go check this out, even if, there's confronting aspects of it, I always try to be like super open, and that's why I'm like, hey, I'm open to whatever you have to share today, and really just, yeah, if there's something that's confronting or something that's calling you, know that that's there for you. And that there's something here in this conversation. There's a reason that you're here. There's a reason that you sat through this, right? You could be spending your time in other ways, but you hung out with us for going on an hour now. And so there's something there for you. So definitely go check that out. But thank you again so much, Marcia. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Soul Powered Podcast. And we'll check you out in the next episode. Bye, everyone. Soul Sister, thank you so much for tuning in to this entire episode today. If you enjoyed this episode, would you do me a favor and leave a quick review? This allows me to reach more people, and if you found value, I know others in your life will too. Also, be sure to share this episode on social media along with your biggest takeaways so I know what resonates most with you and I can keep the good stuff coming. And if you're looking to dive into a deeper connection than this podcast will allow, consider checking out my Rise to Riches experience in the show notes below. I would love to hear how these messages have helped you take one step closer to living your soul-powered life and becoming the wildly wealthy woman. Sis, let's continue to rise together. I'll see you next time. Bye.